Hello there, my name is Brandon and I make pictures out of tiny squares. And in this video I'm going to be making a Batman sprite inspired by the one from the 1989 game for the NES, which was based on the Tim Burton film from that same year. I guess this is sort of like a redraw in a sense, although mostly this is just about the fact that I love the sprite work from this game. It's got this vibrant coloring that looks really interesting for this character, and so I just kind of wanted to riff off that idea and that style to actually just kind of experience and understand this aesthetic from the creation end of things. To get started here, I've figured out an arrangement for the head and the cowl, and from there I'm laying in a stick figure base that'll be bulked up into a silhouette. One of the interesting things with this sprite style is that it's pretty much set up as being an outline sprite, except the outline is more often just along the back part of the sprite and not so much at the front. This outline obviously helps separate the sprite from the background details, and omitting the outline along the front edge perhaps gives a bit of directionality to it, I suppose. As if we're just seeing a shadow behind the character and a clean edge in front of them. With this game in particular, a lot of the backgrounds are a pitch black foundation, and then the details kind of poke out in these highlight colors. So what happens is that the sprite outline, being that it's the same black color as well, often gets absorbed by the background. And so the sprite design itself kind of has to work without the outline at all, meaning we should have a readable design solely from the purple and the blue coloring, because we know that outline isn't always going to be visible. So when I was filling in the silhouette, I was looking for the purple clustering to carry the main shapes that I wanted, and then using the blue to sort of pop out these details as highlights. And this works really well for having things that kind of recess into the shadows, and then using that blue just to draw attention to finer details like the spiky fins on the gloves, or the 6-pack on the bodysuit, or I guess a 4-pack in this case based on the resolution here. The other thing I was playing with was adding another color into the mix, sort of this yellowish tone to use for the mouth and the bat logo details. It's interesting once you add an extra color like this because it changes the context of the existing ones. Like before, it could be interpreted that the character was being bathed in blue and purpley light, but now that we're establishing this other tone, it would almost make it that the suit itself is more likely in these wacky colors to some degree. Which I kind of like, and I think there's some interesting color contrast and color harmony with an expanded scheme like this. So here's that sprite work for now, and then if we just turn down the lights here, we can see how that looks once the line work gets absorbed into the background. From here, I thought it'd be fun to explore what a Bruce Wayne sprite might look like in this style too. So once again, I'm starting from a stick figure, which I sort of extracted from the first sprite just to maintain the size and the proportion. And then I build that up into a silhouette and start to bring detail out of that with the colors. Now, there are a couple different Bruce Wayne looks to choose from the movie, but the one that I thought I'd go for here is just a classic tuxedo appearance, because I feel like that one would do the best at just conveying the whole idea of like, he's very rich kind of aspect of the character. Because we've already established this motif of allowing the black line work to be sacrificed into the background, it's necessary to make this black tuxedo using just the purple color. So I was worried that it might actually come out looking like the Joker a little bit in a sense. So we can see I've actually tweaked that original purple color toward more of a blue for my custom sprite here. But other than that, this all came together reasonably well. I enjoyed seeing what this alter ego appearance looks like in this style. But I started thinking that, while I'm already in the neighborhood of making Bruce Wayne sprites based on the film, it would be a huge disservice to this homage to not include one based on the Let's Get Nuts scene. Like that just needs to be something to see in this style as well, so I made a quick edit to make that into a reality here. Now that I had some of the sprite work starting to add up, I felt like it would do well to organize this into a bit of a character sheet. Just to have like a nice overall presentation of the sprite designs and the ideas that I've been exploring here. So what I've done is I've cropped the canvas to a size of 135 by 135, and then I'm creating isolated panels for the initial Batman design and the Bruce Wayne designs. I worked out some gray bordering and lettering to label those sections of the layout. And those are in just kind of a subdued gray, so they don't really draw attention away from the vibrant sprite work. And then up at the top, I thought it'd be fun to translate the title lettering of the film itself into this resolution. And what's nice about the style of this lettering is that the pixel translation pretty much designed itself. Like it was clear to create this as just being a single pixel outline letter, And then to implement the shading, I'm using the limited colors of that already established palette to get that sort of gradiented effect. It kind of took me a second to get used to because this logo has always been baked into my mind as that burnt gold look. But at least for the purpose of maintaining the limited palette that's already established here, I think the sprite colors make for an interesting and abstract presentation of it. Alright, so let's get nuts and take a look at the finalized character sheet for the NES-inspired Batman. Alright, so as you can tell, with some of the extra space on the layout here, I've added another Bruce Wayne. This one is the turtleneck and jeans variant, absolute classic as well. And then there's a small window for the color palette, and another that shows just a few items. And just to clear up any confusion, I pictured this one here to be a smoke bomb canister. And then this one is just his utility belt. And I won't mention this one, but I'll be super impressed if anyone is able to recognize what this is referencing, given kind of how abstract and small the designs are. The last thing is that I also just explored a few other color variants for the overall design. So here's just that original one with my custom colors, but here's one that's an attempt toward a more realistic coloring, although obviously still in the realm of this abstract color limit. And then here's one that's sort of reduced down into the original colors of that NES sprite. And now for completeness, here's a quick comparison of that finalized sprite with the original NES one on the dark background, just to kind of throw it all the way back to what this exercise was inspired by. And now, with this much on the screen, you can kind of tell the level of obsession I dug into at this point. But, I hope you enjoyed seeing all of this come together, and we'll go ahead and close out with some CRT time. So thank you for watching, and take care and keep it square.